आपके सामने कुछ पेश करेंगे। कोई किसी और भी करना चाहिए। हम क्या बताएं तुझको, सब कुछ तुझे खबर है। हर हाल में हमारी तेरी तरफ नजर है। किस्मत है वो हमारी, जो तेरा फैसला है। हर हाल में हमारी तेरी तरफ नजर है। किस्मत है वो हमारी, जो तेरा फैसला है। सारे जहां के मालिक तेरा हिया आँखों को हम दुआ के खातिर मिलाए कैसे। सजदे में तेरे आकर सिर को झुकाए कैसे। मजबूरियाँ हमारी सजदों तेरी खुशी समझ कर लिया। सारे जहां के मालिक तेरा हिया। दुनिया बना के मालिक जाने कहाँ छिपा है। आता नहीं नजर तू, बस यही जाए। भेजा है इस जहां में जो तेरा तुझ
ஆதி முதல் நீதிமான் பாடு பேசியே இம்மேதினில் பாரதமாய் பஞ்சம் நீக்கியே வீதிதோறும் குதூகலம் பாய்ந்து ஓடவே வீதிதோறும் குதூகலம் பாய்ந்து ஓடவே இன்று வீரமாய் சுத்தந்திரம் பெற்ற பாரத நாடு பாதனிலே பாகிய பெற்ற நாடு மிக சீரடைந்து தேடி நின்ற தமிழ்நாடு நீதி நெறியால் மிகுந்த நிர்மல நாடு இன்று சுதந்திரம் மிகுந்த சுதந்திர நாடு எட்டுக்கும் தட்டு கொண்டு குடிகள் பறக்கவே இக்கட்டுகள் நீங்கி வந்து நடக்கவே எட்டுக்கும் தட்டு கொண்டு குடிகள் பறக்கவே இக்கட்டுகள் நீங்கி வந்து நடக்கவே நாட்டு மக்கள் நாலு பக்கம் ஆடி பாடியே நாட்டு மக்கள் நாலு பக்கம் ஆடி பாடியே இன்று சுற்றியே கோடிகள் சுதந்திர நாடு இன்று சுற்றியே கோடிகள் சுதந்திர நாடு பாதநிலை வாங்க சீரடைந்து மேலே நின்ற செல்வமிழ்நாடு நீதி நெறியால் மிகுந்த நிர்மல நாடு இன்று சூழ்நலம் மிகுந்த சுதந்திர நாடு பாதநிலை வாங்க பெற்ற நாடு. गांधी जी ने प्रकट किए ने भारत का उदाहरण किए गांधी जी ने प्रकट किए ने भारत का उदाहरण किए त्रेता युग में राम है द्वापर युग में कृष्ण है त्रेता युग में राम है द्वापर युग में कृष्ण है कलियुग में गांधी है कलियुग में गांधी है भारत बाद उदाहरण किए गांधी ने प्रकट किए भारत बाद उदाहरण किए गांधी जी ने प्रकट किए भारत बाद उदाहरण किए राम के हाथ में धनुष है कृष्ण के हाथ में मुरली है राम के हाथ में धनुष है कृष्ण के हाथ में मुरली है गांधी के हाथ में चरखा है गांधी के हाथ में चरखा है भारत बाद उदाहरण किए गांधी जी ने प्रकट किए भारत बाद उदाहरण किए गांधी जी ने प्रकट किए भारत बाद उदाहरण किए राम किनारे सीता है कृष्ण किनारे राधा है राम किनारे सीता है कृष्ण किनारे राधा है गांधी किनारे कस्तूरी है गांधी किनारे कस्तूरी है भारत बाद उदाहरण किए गांधी जी ने प्रकट किए भारत बाद उदाहरण किए गांधी जी ने प्रकट किए भारत बाद उदाहरण किए राम की मारो रावण हो कृष्ण की मारो कंस हो राम की मारो रावण हो कृष्ण की मारो कंस हो गांधी की मारो ब्रिटिश हो गांधी की मारो ब्रिटिश हो भारत बाद उदाहरण किए गांधी जी ने प्रकट किए भारत बाद उदाहरण किए गांधी जी ने प्रकट किए भारत बाद उदाहरण किए वंदे मातरम जय
Messages, let's come forward. Even for those on the chair. We'll pull the chairs. पूरा chairs को आगे कर देना. So that we are closer. As we settle down. There was a bhajan today that was sung by Mataji. Did you hear the bhajan? It was little less audible, but what was that? What was the bhajan about? And what did it say? Satyug mein Ram, then Krishna, and now Gandhi. उनकी सीता, उनकी राधा, उनकी ये. Since it's important, I mean not that every bhajan is better by us, but if there is technically a mistake, it's important to acknowledge that. The acknowledgement is that Radha was not the wife of Krishna. And to associate Krishna with Radha and 16,000 gopis and the entire Ras Leela is not what we think is right. Krishna was called a Yogi Raj. Yogi Raj means who has got complete control over his senses. Yogi Raj, so he is someone who is a master of masters. You don't call Yogi Raj to anyone. So he was not a yogi, he was a Yogi Raj who had complete control. Unimaginable that he would have an affair and he would indulge in things like a Ras Leela with gopis or have an affair with anyone, I mean with Radha or anyone. So my request is, let's acknowledge these things. Right? Sometimes due to ignorance, people may say this, but we don't subscribe to that. Second, Gandhiji was a son of the nation, not a father of the nation. No one can be above the nation. We call it Bharat Mata. What does it mean when you say Bharat Pita? Does it make any sense? Right? So therefore nothing can be compared to the mother that is this country. Right? All these are things of the past that we need to clean up. So from this stage we can only do the cleanup act. We cannot do an act to say things which are not right. Third point, to believe that we got independence through charkha and non-violence is again a fallacy. Those who get deeper into history will understand independence came through a lot of struggle, through a lot of bloodshed. I am not saying ahimsa is not important. It is important and ahimsa is one of the primary yama. We talk about it often from here. But ahimsa has got a definition. And that definition is not what Gandhiji subscribed for. So we do regard Gandhiji as a great person. He had a lot of virtues. But to say that he is the father of the nation and to say that we got independence due to charkha and non-violence, it's not doing justice to our history and the sacrifice of the people who actually went to the jails, sacrificed their lives and helped us get our independence. If indeed charkha was the way, why not on borders we have our charkhas today? Right? Kashmir problem could be solved through charkha. So anyway, let's get to the facts. We are going to, now we have got a video over here which is an introduction to Arya Samaj. But the plan for this video was done when the presence of over here was only 15 or 20, which was at the time of the Yajna. Now with the larger presence, I wish to know, this video is in Hindi. I wish to know how many of you would find it difficult to understand Hindi. Please be free and raise your hands. Okay, quite a few. So in which case we will skip this video. One of the challenges we face is that the content is always in Hindi. still have it? Are you sure? I will try to interpret it in Hindi, in English. It's a short. कितनी देर का है? 4 मिनट का. 4 minutes. We go ahead. Okay, let's move. But let's switch off the lights. So this is an introduction to the Arya Samaj. Now I have a problem. But it starts with the point of thinking. Arya Samaj, as we just saw in the example, we talked about how it always focuses on thinking. Let's move.
राहुल संगठन की बात करने जा रहे हैं। यह संगठन है आर्य समाज। इतिहास के गर्भ में इस संगठन के द्वारा समाज के बीच जुड़े कार्यों की हजारों गाथाएं मौजूद हैं, पर यह संगठन आज भी उतनी ही गति से समाज में अनेकों प्रगतिशील कार्य कर रहा है। अब यदि मन में फिर से यह सवाल आया हो कि हम इस संगठन से क्यों जुड़े, तो चलो पहले जानते हैं इस संगठन के बारे में कि हम आर्य समाज से क्यों जुड़े। दोस्तों, 18वीं सदी में महर्षि दयानंद सरस्वती जी द्वारा शुरू किए गए इस आंदोलन यानी आर्य समाज की भाषा में आज भी लाखों वर्ष की सत्य सनातन वैदिक धर्म की असली अनुभूति सुनाई पड़ती है। आर्य समाज से जुड़े परिवारों के निकट ग्रह, नक्षत्र, मंत्र, अमंत्र और राशि से जुड़े दोष नहीं आते। आर्य समाज से जुड़े लोगों पर किसी कथित बाबाओं के ढकोसले तंत्र, मन, वशीकरण एवं क्रोध के काम नहीं करते। आर्य समाज से जुड़े लोगों को भूत प्रेत, डायन, पिशाच आदि के भय नहीं सताते। आर्य समाज से जुड़ते ही कुंडली के कथित मांगलिक जैसे दोष गायब हो जाते हैं। आर्य समाज से जुड़े लोग ईश्वर में विश्वास करते हैं, किसी भूत, पाखंडी, बंगाली बाबाओं में नहीं। आर्य समाज देवदान, श्राद्ध तर्पण जैसे अंधविश्वासों से बचाता है तथा इनके असली महत्व को समझाता है। आर्य समाज बचाता है स्वयं को कल के अवतार, दूर घंटा, महादीश, महन आदि द्वारा धर्म के नाम पर किए जाने वाले आर्थिक और मानसिक और शारीरिक शोषण से। आर्य समाज मूर्ति कला को प्रोत्साहित करता है, लेकिन मृत्यु की पूजा को नहीं, क्योंकि इससे हमारे समाज का कोई आध्यात्मिक या सामाजिक लाभ नहीं होता। क्योंकि आर्य समाज के अनुसार ईश्वर दुनिया के कण कण में व्याप्त है, इसीलिए सृष्टि के कण कण में व्याप्त ईश्वर को केवल एक मूर्ति में सीमित करना ईश्वर के गुण, कर्म और स्वभाव के खिलाफ है। ईश्वर हमारे हृदय और सिर्फ आत्मा में वास करते हैं, इसीलिए भगवान की पूजा, प्रार्थना एवं उपासना के लिए मूर्ति अथवा मंदिर की कोई जरूरत नहीं है। यानी पाखंड, कुरीतियों एवं कुरीतम व्यवस्था को समाप्त करने के आंदोलन का नाम आर्य समाज है। इसी कारण आर्य समाज में आकर युवाओं में अपनी धार्मिक और सांस्कृतिक पहचान के बारे में जागृति करती है तथा देश और समाज के लिए कुछ करने का जज्बा अपने आप पैदा हो जाता है। जो लोग समाज के लिए कुछ करना चाहते हैं तब अकेले करना संभव नहीं, तो वह आर्य समाज के साथ आकर अपना सपना पूरा कर सकते हैं। यह संगठन अकेले भारत में नहीं बल्कि देश से बाहर अन्य 36 देशों में भी वैदिक संस्कृति के प्रचार प्रसार का कार्य करता है, लोगों को सनातन धर्म और जागृति पैदा करने का कार्य करता है। यानी अगली पीढ़ी को अपनी गौरवपूर्ण सांस्कृतिक धार्मिक धरोहर सौंपने की व्यवस्था करता है। आर्य समाज भारतीय समाज के अतीत, वर्तमान एवं भविष्य की रूपरेखा का स्तंभ है, जिसे विश्व वैदिक स्वरूप में अपनी संस्कृति, अपनी सभ्यता और धर्म को आत्मसात करना हो। आइए आर्य समाज से जुड़े तथा अन्य मित्रों, रिश्तेदारों और अपने अड़ोस पड़ोस के लोगों को भी प्रेरित करें, तभी पुनः बन पाएगा हजारों वर्ष पुराना एक महान भारत और महान भारतीय समाज। अगर आपको वीडियो पसंद आई हो,
So these images that you see over here are the functions of Arya Samaj, whether they were held in Tankara 2 months back or in Delhi or in different other places. And it just demonstrates the scale of adoption of this in the northern India. Over here it's not that popular right now, but the message is universal in nature. The message that was given over here was that the theme was why would you join Arya Samaj? And it starts from saying it's an organization that is focusing on thinking, logical thinking. And as soon as you adopt the principles of logical thinking, you also get freed from a lot of other shackles of blind faith, superstition that many of us or the society in general we find adopting in their day-to-day lives. And there are a few examples I talked about over here, there are many others that we are aware of, that we see our family and friends following. For example, it says you get freed from this entire concept of what is a good day and a bad day, your Janam Patri, Rashi, etc., because they don't have any scientific basis. Had they got a scientific basis, people who would not be following them would be worse off, and those who would be following on an average would be better off. But across the world, we don't find. Any question?
Yeah. Are you saying that the planetary movements are more impact on the planet?
Astronomy is a science, but the way this is being practiced over here, that has got no impact on our life. That way. Graha Nakshatra, scientific impact is there, but not if you are born on this date, your life is going to be determined in a particular way. This is a Shubh Muhurt and this is an Ashubh Muhurt. Right? But to not do something during Grahan, that has got a scientific basis because the planetary movements have an impact by way of rays, etc., on our life straight away, but not the way it is being practiced today. It's only a tendency of inciting fear in the minds of the general public, and to top it up, they also suggest a correction. And that correction, the route to that correction is typically money-led. Right? So how can someone sitting here correct a planetary movement and its impact on a person on earth? Had he been that powerful, then how different would he have been from God? Anyway, so all these things, rituals, practices that don't have a scientific basis actually go out of the window. Then they spoke about, in the video, of course, I apologize for the poor quality of the audio. It's not the video which was the problem, the system over here, we need to set it up. But it fundamentally got down to the same question that we were discussing last week. Anyone who remembers what we were discussing last week? Does God exist? And what is the nature of God, and why should we even believe that God is there? What benefit do we get? So I open it up again. What benefit do we get? Last week there was a discussion. We actually were a smaller group just as the way we are today, and we got into a discussion as to why should we even believe that God exists, and what is the benefit we get out of that?
The ultimate purpose is self-realization.
Self-realization. Talk more. Can we have a mic for that?
Peace of mind.
Peace of?
Mind.
If God exists, you will feel more peaceful. But why do you, how is it related to peace of mind and self-realization? क्या माइक है ना? एक और है? My suggestion, you have to speak a little louder if you are not speaking
If we
without.
have a belief that God is there, maybe we follow a discipline in life and seek to be a good person, a good human, and a lot of changes happen in us. It's not talk about
you
this,
have the fear of God.
not fear of God. Actually, when we come to know there is an Almighty, we come to know what we have been created and what is the purpose. And when we believe in the previous karma and we do good and next Janma, and we must be good, we don't want next Janma. that also we need that part, and we suppose we know at least we will see a good human useful to society. Something, lot of things is there, it's not a single line thing.
Okay, it's difficult to explain it in a single line. You talk about peace of mind.
Actually, when you realize that somebody is there to protect us, that itself will give us relaxation, something like.
I understand what you're saying, but still my question is that it could be hallucination, which is an imagination. Right? That I feel
can just
protected.
give you an example.
Yeah.
Probably my husband takes care of the financial part with family. So I'm a bit relaxed around, say, sitting and spending all the money. That itself is, that's one sort of relaxation what we get.
But if
Same
God
way
is
like-
there,
Yeah.
then why don't we see Him or experience Him? Or how do we experience Him? How do we move beyond belief? That is all thinking, right? I am pushing the boundaries of your thinking. I am saying I could, you know what hallucination is? What is hallucination?
Seeing things which are not existing, imagination.
You imagine something, right? You imagine that there is danger in darkness, or there is a ghost in a place that is dark, and therefore you find people being afraid to go there. Right? Just a simple example, even it might not technically fall under hallucination, but you can imagine that there is someone and therefore feel comfortable imagining his existence. But how do you feel?
The earth moves, the sun rises, so you know there's somebody who's controlled. This is happening because of something.
But that's a logical outcome, right? You may, and don't take me otherwise, some of you may find this question silly. Why do we have to get there at all? We know God exists, it's all over the place, the evidence is all around. I would share with you what 2 points, and both of them have come from our scriptures. Just as can you taste a sweet through your ear? No. Or listen to a song through your tongue? Not possible. So there is a sensory organ for every kind of experience that you have. What is a sensory organ to experience God? Is soul a sensory organ? You need to think through. And that's the reason why you need to understand more, learn more. What is a sensory organ to experience God? Gulab Jamun exists, someone has told us. We have seen it. How does it benefit me? Unless I eat it. There is a beautiful song, it's won all the national awards. How does it benefit me? Until I hear it. Right? Taj Mahal is there, or any of these good places are there, I can see a picture. But still it doesn't satisfy me until I go and see that myself. Right? Otherwise you could see the picture of Taj Mahal from here. But does that satisfy you? So you have to go there to experience it. What is a sensory organ to experience God?
What is an experience?
God by itself is an experience.
When you experience God, then you believe. Then it is.
I agree. But how do you experience God?
No, when I say 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, how do you do it? So, when you have 2 pencils, you know there are 2. So, you add 2 more pencils to that, so it becomes 4. Only when you have experienced it, that is when you have proven. There is no other proof for that. Similarly,
No, I'm not asking for the proof of God.
I'm
People
not
beyond.
proof, it's an experience. It's an experience.
What is experience? 2 plus 2 equal to 4 is an experience.
When you do it, it's an experience. When you are adding, it is so fundamental that it looks silly.
No, you are right. There is nothing over here which we can say is silly. But the question is, 2 plus 2 is a logical outcome. I am saying, as Kripaji now said, the entire universe that has been created, who has created it? And if you push the argument further, there is no other way other than to acknowledge the existence of something which is there to create all this and run all this. And therefore, logically, you can come to a point of saying that whatever superpower is there, whether you call it God, Allah, whatever you call it, it's a superpower, we call it God.
There are some things which you cannot experience. For example, you said a song and
So you're saying God cannot be experienced?
for example, take example electricity. Electricity you cannot see, but you can experience. You switch on the light is coming.
Electricity,
You cannot see the electricity.
electricity you experience, you touch the light wire.
You cannot see, no? You cannot see the electricity.
I'm not talking about
experience.
science. That's an important point. Here, the question that we are asking is, different objects have got a different sensory organ in our body through which we experience it. Electricity is not a subject of your eyes, but it is a subject of your skin. The moment you touch it, you will experience it. Gulab jamun, you can see through your eyes, but unless you eat it, it's not gulab jamun. It's just a round ball of whatever it is made of. Right? So same way,
So we pray for something and we get something. So that is it. We are praying for something. When we get that, so we are realizing it. So we are believing the God. So that we are getting experience.
so in which case you do something and you get it. Do you experience that? Doing some, you pray and you get something, there is also an effort involved, right? In between. It's a result of your effort.
My effort plus God.
I understand that. But how is that an experience of God? My question is simple. What is a sensory organ?
There is somebody who has made that
God
God
exists within us, each and every one of us, every object that we see. It's basically, see, majority of the times we don't realize it, that the self, is where we see God. So, the moment we have do for others, the godliness is actually increasing, but the moment the world is censored, because of I believe in karma, so the karma bala makes us do things which, is not godliness. The more you keep doing the wrong things, you get the benefit of karma that you are doing, be it good or bad. So God is not somewhere, you cannot search here and there. God exists within us.
I completely understand. God exists within us. No two views around that. But the experience of God, there is a logical outcome saying God exists because there is a logic that can explain it. There is also evidence because we see things happening around in a particular way. There is also a feeling you can get, well, God may have supported my success over here because I could only have done until there. Maybe it's God's blessings that has come to me by way of something. The same way, if something wrong happens, we also end up sometimes blaming God, right? But the scriptures say that the sensory organ to experience God is within us, and that is our mana. What is it? Mana. And that mana, you cannot experience God until you get it to a state in which it can experience. It is like if you are going in a train, the signboards that are there, You cannot read it if the train is moving fast. But the signboard is there, eyes are there, but why can you not read it? But the moment it slows down, all those signboards are clear and readable. So your sensory organ was always there, the signboard was always there, but you need to create the enabling condition to be able to read it. In the same way, your mana has to come to that position or that condition by which you can experience God. That's
Mana is mind as well.
mana is not mind, it's beyond mind. So what happens?
The
we say-
intellect
Exactly. These things don't have an English
words.
word. They call it the antakaran, the internal. Antakaran has got 4 parts, which is the mind, which is the intellect, the mana, then our ego. What they call again, ego is not the right word. Ahamkar, and then our soul. So these are the internal, you don't call it organs, but these are the internal constituents. And for these constituents there isn't exactly an English translation. But mana is the organ by which you experience God, but you need to get into that state. Yoga is the way by which it explains you how you get there and takes you there. But it cannot be done by teaching alone. You need to practice it. So, we have went a little overboard. I'll pause here. The invitation to all of you is, with the Vedic Vidya Kendra that's coming up in Pondicherry, it's an opportunity for each of you to give yourself a chance to go beyond the Rasgullas and the Tajmahals, to experience what is important and relevant, truly important and relevant for yourself and your children.
So, going for a camp for a few days, and then, getting up at 4 o'clock, doing all the, things are okay. You can do it for a week or something. Once you come back, there is a pressing demand that, you have multiple roles to play. There are so many things that you should do. How do we actually, 1 week, do you think really will change a person completely so that they start with that way of living?
That's a brilliant question. If you fundamentally look at our education system, it starts with Brahmacharya and the Gurukul. The training of the first 25 years is supposed to remain with you for life. And therefore it becomes a part of your personality. Once again, when you, after finishing Grihastha, you move to Vanprastha, you again start practicing it. And in Sannyasa again you practice it. We have lost the opportunity of learning it in our childhood. Maybe our children, if they are lucky, we can put them over there. But whatever opportunity we have, it's better than those, it is better than having that versus those who are not sitting in this hall, who wouldn't even be having this conversation. Give ourselves a chance. We can stay there for 7 days, 10 days, 20 days. Whether how much of it we can practice once we return. That's an answer that could be different for each of us. But at least we know that the experience of God, there is a root to it. And we invite you to learn how to experience. So with this, we wrap up. The invitation is for every one of you. The theme of these conversations is to share with you how can you benefit, truly benefit from a center like that, which actually very few cities have got. So that way, we are all fortunate, thanks to the institution, that this kind of a center could come up. But now it is for us to take advantage of this opportunity. So with this, I hand it back to Didi.
शांति पाठ। ओम शांतिरन्तरिक्षं शान्तिः शान्तिरापः शान्तिरोषधयः शान्तिः वनस्पतयः शान्तिर्विश्वेदेव शान्तिर्ब्रह्म शान्तिसदैव शान्ति शान्तिरेव शान्ति सामा शान्तिरेति। ओम शांति शांति शांति। भोजन करता। ओम अन्नपते अन्नस्यनो येयनमि वस्य सुस्मिनः प्रददातारं तारिसपूजन्नो देहि त्रिपदे चतुष्पदे। जय घोष। जो बुरे स्वभय वैदिक धर्म की, योगीराज श्री कृष्ण भगवान की, मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम श्री रामचंद्र की, देश पर मर मिटने वाले अमर शहीदों की, भारत माता की, गौ माता का पालन करें। कृणवंतो विश्वनार्यम वैदिक ध्वनि। वैदिक परिवार सभी को सादर नमस्ते। सदा रहे हंसते एवं मुस्कुराते।